Just listen. I'm sorry what I did to Compton.
You are listening to
Fire emergency.
Please don't touch this listen. I'm sorry I killed that girl.
All right, welcome once again to the Grim Fix podcast. I am one of your hosts here, David. I'm here with JR and Charles in the building.
Yo, everyone.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for showing up once again. Thank you for those who have subscribed to the podcast, who have followed, who have dropped reviews and stars, and those of you who have shared with your friends. I also want to remind those of you who listen to us, if you want to see the video, right, you can go to our YouTube channel, the Grim Fix Podcast, subscribe to the channel, drop us a comment, like and subscribe. That's all I got to say about that. It's totally free. Yes, welcome once again. So before
we wanna go 90s. What's up?
before I forget, right? I had to write this down while I was editing the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys know where you ever heard the saying Saved by the Bell?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, yeah.
Do you know where that comes from?
Not
No.
exactly.
No? We
No.
actually spoke about it last week. As a matter of fact, you, JR, brought it up.
Oh wow, then I don't remember.
I was editing. I don't know what I searched, and it says, I guess like fun fact. The term Saved by the Bell comes from the times when people used to die back then, and they would tie a bell to them to make sure they were dead. So if they were saved,
it does make a lot of sense.
Yeah, because they were saved by the bell. So that's where that comes from. Papam. The more you know.
Wow, mind blowing. If you're able to put some stuff, making us look like we blow our heads up.
The more you know. I was like, holy shit! Like I had to write it down because I know I'm gonna forget. But
Yeah, wow. When you say you're gonna write something down and you end up remembering.
Yeah, no, but that's why now, like, I always have like a notepad here where I take like notes of the show or things that we talk about. So like that when I'm editing, I remember where everything is, and when I write up the description for the podcast and the YouTube channel, the YouTube video, I mean, I have everything there. So
wow, such a grim origin, huh? Saved by the Bell.
And there was something else, but I know I didn't write it down, so obviously.
What about the show?
Exactly, that's what I was gonna say. Like, wow, like that show from
the
now has like.
Oh yeah.
What about the show?
Yeah, Saved by the Bell. Like, wow.
You know that they made a reboot to that show.
They made a what?
They made a reboot to that show. I think it was like 2 years ago, and that shit died because it was too PC. They try to make it super woke.
It's too whack anyway. That show wasn't that big.
I love that show. What? The original show?
I didn't. I watched
older when it came out.
I wasn't hanging on the balls, man.
You were older when it came out. That's why it's more of like younger.
True.
Kids,
I was way older.
But that show was huge. Yep. But they try to do a remake and then they try to like super woke it. And
yeah, just like they do everything.
They killed it. Another show that got canceled too, I read yesterday, was that show. I haven't seen it yet. Blockbuster.
Oh, I read that was crap.
Yeah, it got
never heard of it.
Canceled. Yeah, it's on Netflix. And let me see what else happened TV wise. I know what's this guy's name? You guys haven't seen The Witcher, so it's not even worth mentioning.
I'm not watching TV at the moment. Like, I'm completely lost.
No, you're into the game.
More into the game right now.
I hear your ass over here. He's into that. What?
It's that Dead by Daylight game, man. Like
Dead by Daylight, exactly.
I'm telling you, I haven't played video games in so long.
Yo lo he visto, but I haven't played it.
I have no idea. The only thing I did want, I mentioned this already that I wanted to get the VR, just because they took out Resident Evil 4
Mm-hmm.
for VR.
Oh,
I thought it would be cool, but nah, I know I'm gonna get like nauseous or some shit playing that after like for a long period of time.
What for Buddy's game or
So they got it for
game
Oculus, but
console?
they also made it for what is it, MetaQuest, some shit like that is called.
Yeah, MetaQuest.
Yeah, and people from Facebook that created their own VR shit.
It's still gotta be cool to play.
It would be cool, but that's a game like that I know I'll spend long periods of time playing. And being that with a VR for long periods of time, I'm not gonna be able to handle it. I mean, I don't think anybody really does. Most
It
people that I
happened
see
to me
play.
with one of the games.
Yeah, I feel like
played one
most.
of
No, that I feel like most people that play, even the young people, I've seen that they play it for a little bit and they gotta take them off.
Yeah, I played. I don't know what's the name of the game that he has. It was like I think it was one of his first games. You
Oh.
could run on a beach. You build a fire. There's something running in the woods.
Yeah, I don't remember the name, but I know what you're talking about.
You know which game, right? That's the game that I played, and I felt kind of nauseous after a while.
yeah.
I think the one I got like dizzy and shit was he put one where you're like standing at the edge of a building.
Yeah, but that was because of the height.
And just looking down, I was like, holy shit, like I felt
See,
like I was really
it'd
there.
be cool to get this guy to do that.
Like I'm afraid of heights. So
Yeah.
when I put that shit on, it's like you're thinking like, it's a game, it's bullshit. Nah, man. Like,
Don't you feel your balls tingly?
I don't know about my tingling balls, but I do remember I got dizzy. Like
back then, I used to be not afraid of heights. I would jump from rooftop to rooftop. Now I just stand up there and you just see. I feel like that tingliness right in my scrotum, and it just, I hate that feeling.
I remember. Me since I've been a kid, I've always been afraid of heights. Like I remember when we used to climb up in the roof.
Exactly.
And especially like on the side of the roof with those metal stairs. I remember like I would feel like anxiety and all that shit. Like I was legit scared. Like even now, like I'll go to a mall. If I'm at a high floor and I look down, like sometimes they have like those rails and you can see all the way down.
Yeah.
I'm a chicken shit.
So that means you can't. I think I'm not sure if it's in China where they have like a bridge where it's just glass and you can see it right down.
Oh no.
Well, there's a building here in New York.
I would love to do it, but I know I'll be bugging out.
Well, there's a building in the city
would love to do it.
that they have. There's a building in the city here that you go and there's a part that I guess it like goes over the building. Like to the edge, and it's all glass.
Okay.
I don't think I could do that. Like I want to go. I want to go just to see, but I'm pretty sure I won't.
It's they got one in Seattle. I think it's Seattle or Vegas. I'm not sure which one it is. Where they got one of the rides up high in the building, and it just sticks out and spins you around.
Yeah. No.
Never seen it.
No.
No.
It looks cool, but no, you wouldn't catch me there.
Like when I go to Islands of Adventure, I'll do the Doctor Doom because it's so fast. But if not, no.
I just hate that feeling, the drop, no.
Nah, that fucking ride when it shoots you up, man. Damn, I got something in my eye. When that ride shoots you up, like you feel,
I don't mind the going up part. It's the coming down where it kills me.
You feel your stomach like go. And I got on this ride also. I forgot the name of it. It's like it's a space ride. It's on Epcot Center. And then it has like the beginners, and it has for more advanced like astronauts. And you go in and you sit in like this little, supposed to be like a little spaceship, and it sits, I think it's 3 people, and everybody gets a job. There's like a bunch of controls, and like if it was a real ship, and you know, you have the screen right in front of you, and then it says, you know, whatever. When everybody has like a role, like one is a captain, one is a wingman or whatever, the other one's the fighter, the shooter, or whatever. So while you go on the ride, it's one of those rides that doesn't go anywhere. It's just a simulation. So you're at this ship and it just shoots you into space, right? That's what you feel. Yo, I kid you not. I thought I was gonna fucking pass out. Like you feel
a grown-ass man passing out.
You feel it's crazy how they do that because the ride isn't going anywhere. It's a simulator.
Well,
All it does it moves. It does that shit or whatever, right? It moves, but the machine stays right there. But when you get on and you put on your whatever thing here over, you have to like lean forward like to a screen. So all you see is what the screen is showing you, and it shows you like if it was I think it was planet Earth or some shit that you see from afar, or another planet, Mars or whatever, and they're shooting you to that planet. But the pressure that you feel when they shoot you, what is it they call that? G-force, some shit like that?
Yeah, the G-force.
Yo, I kid you not, you feel that shit on your face.
How?
I don't know how they do that.
That's crazy. How they make that shit, you know, how they make you feel it if
But
it's not actually moving.
I'm telling you, I thought I was gonna fucking pass out. And that it's only that part because the pressure that you feel when you blast off, you feel that shit and you feel everything like shaking, like if you were really there.
It's crazy.
I felt like you know when your vision starts going like going away, you're fighting to stay awake, but you're like, that's how I felt. I was like, holy shit.
Wow.
Yo, you wasn't like this.
Nah, man, I was just afraid because I had two friends of mine with me on the ride. I was like, yo, I'm gonna look like such a big puss if I pass out on this shit. Lindo, you're like, oh, this like slumped over on the fucking ride. Like, nah,
that'll
man.
be so freaking hilarious, yo.
But that was my biggest fear. But yeah, I don't know how we ended up talking about this, but for all of those of you who are listening, Merry Christmas, because by the time you hear this, Christmas should have been yesterday.
No. Yeah, yesterday. It's on Sunday. I keep thinking it's on Saturday.
Yeah, Christmas should have been yesterday, so I hope everyone had a Merry Christmas.
Yep. Merry Christmas, everyone.
I don't know how I hope shopping season went well. Here in my building, we have a problem with a package thief.
Ooh.
So it's become an issue, man. Like this guy, he shows up and he'll carry some shit, like he's delivering it, and like 30 seconds later, I guess he'll start ringing random doorbells to see who opens the door, and there's always, I guess, somebody that doesn't check the camera, and they just let him in. And he just walks right in, walks into, we have 2 mail rooms in the building, and he just walks right out with a bunch of packages.
Oh, wow.
But they don't have cams down there?
We do, but the camera's not going to do anything. I mean, by the time people see it,
something that could record him and, catch.
Yeah, like we got a picture of his face up on the door and everything outside, but it happened last month. And I remember the only reason why we noticed was because I was walking my dogs and my wife and we saw an empty box just on the floor in the park. So we looked at the label and it was the building address. So I was like, oh shit, must have been somebody stole it. And then we'll walk further ahead and there was another package from the building. They were just open, ripped up, and obviously they took whatever was inside. So I went back. When I came upstairs, I started checking the camera. I started going back and I saw the person that it was. So I screenshot it and I screen recorded it and I sent it to the building superintendent. They did nothing. Same person came back last week and took a bunch of shit. I'm talking about a bunch of shit. I think I have a picture. I'll probably show it to the YouTube viewers. You can see the guy with all the packages in his hand, like running out the door.
Walk in with one and come out with like 5 or 6.
Yeah, but this time, I guess the building porter saw him. and call us. So the guy's like rushing out, like running out with the packages. But he took the packages.
That's crazy. How would people do that?
Hey,
People are disgusting, man. People are disgusting. So
Yeah.
that happened. I mean, thank God we haven't had anything missing. Anything we've ordered, we pretty much, it's either in back order, hasn't gotten here, or you know, we've had it. And then today, this has nothing important. This is just me bullshitting. I have a puppy, like most of you know.
yeah. Holly, right?
Yeah. So my puppy has been doing very well with house training. So instead of leaving her in the pen today, yesterday, I decided to leave her loose in the living room and just open up a gate. So I just closed down my living room so she can hang out in the living room only. Everything was fine, great. Came home from work, no poop, no pee. Everything was great. Fine. I was like, oh shit, good girl. Ha ha ha. Gave her a treat. This is amazing. Today I said, I was like, all right, so she did it yesterday. I'm gonna do it today. Holy shit.
That's what you found.
Like not even, man. It wasn't even, it was like 11
A
something.
manly turd.
My son calls me. He goes, Dad, you gotta lock her up. I said, why? What happened? He goes, poop and pee everywhere.
Oh,
He
What?
goes, I had to run out because he does like dog walking on the side to make some extra cash. So he goes, I'm walking the dog right now. When I get home, you know, I'm gonna clean it up and whatnot. This fucking dog. So I quickly checked the camera. I have a camera in the living room. Holy shit. She took out the presents that were under the tree. She unwrapped
What?
them. She broke the boxes of like 2 of them, like ripped. I'm talking about ripped it. You would think the present was hers and she opened it up. She took this other present that I have for my wife. It's a small box. I couldn't find it anywhere. I found it under my couch. She took her wee pad that I left, ripped it up, and threw it all on the couch. Yeah, I wanted to beat her ass. Like,
Dito.
thank God. No, I mean, thank God this all happened while I was at work. So I'm not gonna come and kick her ass when I get home 3 hours later. So, but yeah,
Yeah,
man.
it's not gonna understand. You gotta catch her at the
You gotta
moment.
catch her in the moment so they can understand why they're
Yep.
being yelled at or whatever. But yeah, so that was my day.
Wow.
Man.
That's
What Mosey never did.
puppy duties. Well, that's the difference with Mose. Mose was easier because Mose, I got him close to summer. So I was off the entire summer. So I was able to train him. With her, we got her and I haven't been off. Like now, I'll have this week off. So I can work on her this whole week.
But
with
probably
her.
that's why she's upset, because since you haven't, you guys baby her a lot, so
Oh
she's
yeah,
probably
but she definitely tantrums. Like sometimes she'll be fine. I'll put her in the pen. She won't even use a wee pad. She'll wait for me to get home. But sometimes it's like you can see, like when it's close for me to get home, I don't know if they have an internal clock or how that shit works. She'll just start ripping the whole wee pad. I'm talking about little pieces.
Yo, I'm not doing it on no pad. I ain't no animal.
She'll tantrum and she'll rip up the whole shit. But anyway, today we will be talking about murders, right? I was searching for serial killers, but I couldn't find exactly serial killers. But I did find a few cases, and I assume you guys as well, about murders that happened during, not necessarily on Christmas, but during the Christmas season. Christmas season being, right, let's say, we would account from Thanksgiving, right, to New Year's Day. Okay? Even though the ones I found, I think they all happened in December, being like the epitome of Christmas season.
Yeah, I think the one that I found, I think he dresses up like Santa.
Ooh. Speaking of Christmas, do you guys consider Die Hard a Christmas movie?
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
No.
Yes.
right? I feel
Really?
I feel like that's
Just because
the
it's on Christmas, that's it?
well, that's the response you get mainly when you ask that question. Half of the people will say yes, half of the people will say no. For those of
I
you
would
who are
consider it.
listening and watching, I want to know your opinion. Do you consider Die Hard a Christmas movie? I think most people do.
Okay, going into that deeper into that question, when did that movie come out? Did it come out around Christmas season or did it come out some other season?
I don't remember, but we can look it up. Let's ask our dear friend Google.
Because I
Okay.
see it that way. And like
Well,
Toria.
the story takes place on Christmas. Right? Because it's
Exactly.
Christmas
Exactly.
Day. The movie was released in July 22nd,
Mira, bhai.
1980.
So when you watched the movie, did you think it was a Christmas movie when it first came out?
No, but it became
Exactly.
that. But it
That's
became
my
that.
point. Huh?
It became that.
Yeah, they made it that. They forced it into that because they would play it every freaking year.
Well, you know what's another movie considered a Christmas movie? As a matter of fact, I watch it. What?
Gremlins.
Yeah, I watch it every Christmas. And that was released on June 8th, 1984. But I watch that movie every Christmas. Every Christmas, I'll watch it.
Just like watching Home Alone every Christmas.
Well, Home Alone, yeah. Home Alone is like a Christmas classic.
Yeah, that's too much of a classic.
Like I mean, I try to do the same thing like with Halloween, where I'll watch leading to Christmas. I'll watch, different movies and whatnot. But there's certain movies like my wife is like, no. We'll watch it on Christmas or Christmas Eve, which this year is a Saturday. I was actually planning on going to the city and going to see the lights, but it's supposed to be super brick.
Yes, it's supposed to be. It's
if
supposed
that's
to be.
the case,
Supposedly, it's gonna snow.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be freaking cold and windy.
So if that's the case, I will be in my home drinking hot cocoa and watching movies.
Marshmallows.
So, I watched yesterday for the first time ever that I actually sat down to watch it. I've seen bits and pieces my entire life, but I actually sat down for the first time to watch A Christmas Story.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And the only reason why I sat down to watch it because now they have the new one that came out last month.
Okay, so you want to
and I want to know, it's such a classic, and I was like, what's the big deal? Because I've seen bits and pieces, and it's been like in the background in the TV for years because they play, they show it every year.
Yeah, usually the part that you remember is the part where he licks the freaking pole and his tongue gets stuck on the pole.
So yeah, I watched it yesterday for the first time. So I will be watching this weekend the second part. I watched Christmas El Camino, some shit like that. Okay. It's on Netflix. It's a movie that let me look it up. Wait, I think it's Christmas El Camino or El Camino Christmas. It takes place, I think, in either Texas or not. Well, the license plate say Nevada. El Camino. Okay, El Camino Christmas. The movie's from 2017, and it stars like Tim Allen, Luke Grimes, Vincent D'Onofrio. That's what is it, Kingpin on Daredevil?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, yeah. No.
Yeah.
Wait up. What Daredevil?
Daredevil, the show.
The Netflix series.
Not that bullshit Ben Affleck movie. No.
I thought it was the Ben Affleck movie. I was like, wait up, no.
Did you know that he was the bad guy from? Do you remember the movie The Cell?
Yes.
Yeah.
He was the bad guy.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yeah. Jessica Alba comes out. Kurtwood Smith, aka Red from that 70s show.
Okay.
Dax Shepard. It has a few people. The movie has no fucking plot. It's such a terrible movie. And I finished watching it just because I was already invested in it. But holy shit, that movie had no plot. Like it was just happening. That's it. Like
Randomness.
yeah, like this guy is searching for his dad, and he goes to this little town, El Camino, and then like he gets arrested because they think he's pushing drugs, and then he ends up. One of the cops beats his ass, and then the other cop lets him go, and he ends up in this store. And then the rest of the movie takes place in the store where they think he's holding them hostage because the cop that beat his ass is hell bent on like taking him to jail. It's just terrible. And you're like waiting for something to happen, and then
Just like White Lotus.
White Lotus actually, it's actually a good script. Like it keeps you.
Yeah. But you know, I'm just saying, like
That nothing
when you
happens.
spoke about it, you said there's nothing happening. It's
Yeah.
just about hotels.
Yeah, White Lotus ended up being pretty good though. I recommend you guys watch it.
No.
Yes.
I saw a clip of it and it just looks like one of those lovey-dovey shows, and
No, but it's not. All right, so let's talk about some grim content here for all those who come to watch and listen to us because of the grim content. Not everybody likes the bullshitting and the banter, and this is your part, my friends. So I want to start with a story that's called A Star Wars Connection.
Ooh.
So for those of you who are fans of Star Wars, I can't say that I am, but this is in intouchweekly.com, and it was written by Josie Rhodes Cook. Okay. So it says here, these are short stories. I'm not going to read these long ass stories and whatever, but it's just to give you guys a perspective of, we know that Christmas is a time of cheer and joy and happiness. And, you know, sadly, shit happens. So that's what we're going to be talking about. Shit that happens or happened. All right. So David and Roger Cooper plotted to poison Samina Iman in 2014 through text messages coded with Star Wars phrases, the Mirror reported. She was having an affair with Roger, and although she believed that by 2015 they would be together publicly, he didn't want his wife to know about their relationship, the Vice reported. The brothers decided to kill Imam and spent months planning the murder. They first attempted to have David abduct her on December 12th, exchanging messages like Death Star complete, end quote, and quote, stay on target. You are expected Vader, end quote. But the plan failed. Then on Christmas Eve, 2014, Roger and Imam arrived at David's home in Leicester, and David smothered her with a rag soaked in chloroform. David disposed of the woman's body just hours after her death. After police were informed she was missing following Boxing Day, her car was found miles away from her body on January 4th, 2015. Vice reported, finally, after a trip from the public, her body was found and the brothers were arrested on suspicion of murder on January 7th, 2014. What? This makes no sense. It says the brothers were arrested on suspicion of murder on January 7th, 2014. On October 21, 2015, Roger and David were both found guilty of murder and sentenced to 30 years behind bars, respectively. This must have been a typo because she was found on January 4th, 2015.
Mm-hmm.
And then it says that they were arrested on suspicion of January 7th, 2014, the year before. That's what we call a huevada. But yeah, I'm assuming it must have been So they found the body on January 4th, and they were arrested on suspicion January 7th of that year. And then on the same year, October 21, 2015, they were both murdered. They were both found guilty of murder and sentenced to 30 years behind bars.
So why did they kill her?
Because she was having an affair with Roger. Wait a minute, but David and Roger Cooper plotted to poison Samina. To text message. She was having an affair with Roger. So I'm guessing she was dating David.
That's some crazy shit going on.
Dating him, and then she was having an affair with the brother. So the brothers decided to kill her. Yeah.
We shouldn't confuse the listeners and the viewers.
So, but then it says, but check this out, because it says, look, this story is all over the place. I'm sorry. Let me see who wrote this. Again, it's the same way I gave you credit, Josie Rhodes Cook. You need to have your writing checked because it's so David and Roger, Cooper plotted to poison Samina, right? Imam. So far, we're clear on that. And then it says she was having an affair with Roger, and although she believed that by 2015 they would be together. Okay. My bad, Josie. Because
Wow, that's messed
put
up.
here, okay, is that she was having an affair with Roger, but it's because Roger was married. So Roger was having an affair with her.
Okay.
Right? Makes more sense that way, right?
Oh,
Yes.
So they decided to kill her because he was cheating on his wife. Still, they don't fucking make sense.
Unless she was gonna rat him out.
So it says that Roger, although she believed that by 2015 they would be together publicly, he didn't want his wife to know about their relationship. So they just decided to kill her.
See, that's why she was gonna
So
rat them
fucking
out.
dumb. I'm sorry. This is so fucking dumb. No wonder
People
they're-
do stupid shit.
It's just, it makes no sense. Like, you're cheating on your wife, and I mean, to begin with, you're fucking up, Roger. You're already fucking up, and then
Your pal, David.
you know he comes and he has this girl. I mean, I don't know her, but he gets involved with this other girl. He's the one cheating on his wife, right? Even though, yes, she's also at fault, or she was at fault, right? God rest her soul. She was also at fault if she knew he was married, right? And I guess she fell for the typical story of we're separated, but
We
we're
live
together,
together,
but
but we're not together.
yeah,
Love
we're
you.
together, but we're not together anymore. We just live together for now, but I'm gonna break it off. Girls, you gotta stop falling for that. I'm sorry, you do. You really have to stop it. So yeah, but then he comes, and then him and his brother decide to kill her because he didn't want his wife to find out.
No respect for life.
All right, let's jump into the next story, please.
There you go.
I will.
Okay. Dale. Who's gonna do it? You or me?
Go ahead.
Well, I got this from grunge.com. And this is the 27th most frightening murders that happen around Christmas. This was written by Asher Cantrell and Deborah Kelly. And all of those 27 frightening murders, I picked at around 4. This is just one of them.
Okay.
It says Alexis Valdez. Housing can be tough to find for a student, especially in the last several years. And while Christmas may be about goodwill towards those around you, sometimes the situation is simply not sustainable. This was the situation 18-year-old Alexis Valdez found himself in on Christmas Day, 2013. Valdez had been staying with his aunt and her boyfriend, Silvestre Diaz Hernandez.
Mira, un día.
Who allowed him to live in their apartment as long as he remained in school, worked, and helped out with the bills, according to CBS Chicago. At some point, though, Valdez quit school and his job and wasn't upholding his part of the bargain any longer. His aunt and her boyfriend decided to ask him to leave. It was a bad timing, seeing as it was Christmas, but Valdez seemed to take it extra hard considering what happened next. He confronted his aunt's boyfriend, and things quickly turned violent. In his anger, Valdez killed Diaz Hernandez with a hammer, mutilated his body by removing all of his limbs, and then decapitated him, also disfiguring his face in the process, leaving his head in Valdez's aunt's bed. He later described this as a present. Valdez called the police and told them exactly what happened and fully admitted to the murder when police arrived. They found him covered in blood. Reportedly, Valdez later said he would have killed his aunt too had she been home.
Wow.
Yeah.
Shit. Yo, let's talk about a tantrum, bro. Like,
dude, decapitating a body and leaving it as a present.
Like, I get it. You had a deal. You were supposed to, keep your end of the deal. And there's no such thing as a free lunch, right? Like they say.
Yep.
And yeah, I get it that your aunt's like, bro, you gotta go. But kind of sucks that they decided to do it on Christmas time. I mean, not that anything justifies his actions, but damn, man, you couldn't I don't know, punch him in the face and that's it and leave angry.
No, they cut the limbs
and walk away.
Just leave.
They chop off the arms, the legs, and then they decapitate it. Chop off the head.
You brought this onto yourself.
That's what I'm saying. Yo, if you decide, you're pissed, again, I'm not saying that it's justified, but if you're upset, you decide to lash out and, I don't know, you punch him in the face or whatever. But the fact that this guy not only kills him with a hammer, then he removes his limbs, fucks up his face. So obviously he wailed on that face.
All out.
But then you decapitate. I kind of want to think this guy was planning this for a while. He was
yeah,
he was letting that shit build up until I don't know.
And then he would have killed the aunt as well.
Yeah, man.
Shipping home,
there has to be something more to that story.
Wow.
Man, that's just rough. All right, next.
Okay, this is a long one.
That's what she said.
I'll try to shorten it up.
That's what she said.
Huh?
Crazy.
Look, this is from the U.S. Sun. They don't say Fiona Connor is I guess is the writer, and it says the title says he was once a married man with 2 children at home who dressed up as Santa for kids at Christmas.
Okay.
It says here, but James McArthur is now considered one of Canada's most prolific serial killers who heinously took their lives of 8 men.
Damn.
Jeez.
Yeah, but watch. They show his picture, and it says under the picture it says Bruce McArthur, 70, was arrested in January 2018 and later pleaded guilty to murdering 8 men between 2010 and 2017. Who is Bruce? Bruce McArthur is a Canadian serial killer known for murdering men during a heinous 8-year murder spree. He was born on October 8, 1951 in Lindsay, Ontario, and grew up on a farm in Kawartha Lakes region. McArthur and his siblings were raised together by their parents, who also took in troubled foster children from Toronto. He worked in department stores as a buyer assistant in his 20s in the area, which later became known as the Gay Village. In 1979, he had married, and the couple went on to have a daughter in 1981 and a son in 1986. It was believed he began having affairs with men in 1990s, but remained living with his wife until the couple ran into financial trouble and separated in 97.
It's a greedy fellow.
Yes, he was. But he developed a fetish for rough sex and joined the gay fetish dating website for men into BDSM.
Okay. That's that bondage shit, right? Where they put on those
bondage
masks.
and
Masochism.
masochism.
When they step on your balls and
Yeah,
I don't know what's the pleasure from that because I wouldn't appreciate no one stepping on my
it's the
balls.
humiliation.
they kick you in the
It's
balls.
still.
Yeah,
I
No.
don't understand. I don't understand that. Like, I mean, I don't know if you guys can be into that. That's whatever
No,
floats your boat.
no. I go to a certain point. You know, I
But
got my limits.
stepping on my balls and
No,
like,
no, no. It's like
kicking my
that two
balls.
girls in one cup thing. No. You've seen that, right, David?
I have, sadly.
That's nasty.
Ugh.
What's the pleasure? What's the pleasure of eating, shit in a cup? Come on.
Yeah, what's the pleasure of shitting in a cup? What's the pleasure of
and then
seeing
throwing
someone
up
shit in
on
a
it.
cup? Ugh.
No, but they
Then-
eat it like a
then-
freaking coquito, yo.
Yeah, she threw up on the thing and then they ate it.
Yeah. Why? I don't.
All right. Ugh.
Anywho, back to Bruce. Okay. He moved to Toronto and regularly spent time in the gay village while entering into relationships with men. He began working as a landscaper around this time. MacArthur's lust intensified. A number of men began disappearing from the rainbow community. Okay. In January of 2019, he pleaded guilty to murdering 8 men between 2010. I read that before. What crimes did he commit? MacArthur, 69, was arrested in 2018 for murder. He first landed on the police's radar in June 2016 after a man called 911 to report him for
911.
Yeah, well, 911. To report him for attacking and trying to strangle him during a sexual encounter. When Andrew Kinsman, a 49-year-old LGBTQ activist and bartender, disappeared in 2017, MacArthur fell subject to an investigation again. While searching Kinsman's home, the name Bruce was spotted on a calendar for the date June 26. MacArthur was then placed under police surveillance while they gathered more evidence. After watching him walk into the apartment building with a Middle Eastern man on January 18, 2018, they decided to rush inside, believing the man's life was at risk. Inside, police found the man chained to a bed with a bag over his head and his mouth taped shut. Investigators said they believe they interrupted MacArthur from claiming his 9th victim. After a number of significant investigations from local police, MacArthur was arrested in January 2018 after being linked to the disappearances. Detectives had found more disturbing evidence, including images of the 8 missing men dressed up, one wearing a fur coat, another with a cigar in his mouth, which police say MacArthur had been keeping as trophies. Why he's gonna keep them as trophies?
So he had a bunch of dead guys in his house.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. But I'm guessing they're pictures.
Okay.
I'm guessing it says including images of 8 missing men dressed up, one wearing a fur coat. He pleaded guilty to murdering 8 men between 2010 2017 who all disappeared without a trace from Toronto's gay village district. Most of the victims were Middle Eastern or South Asian descent and lived on a margin of Canadian society. The latest unidentified remains were found in 2018 inside a planter at the same Canadian home where 6 others were unearthed.
Jeez.
He also worked as a landscape in landscape, and he would actually he would bury some of the bodies in other people's properties.
That's crazy.
Sir, can you please remove the body from the plant, please?
What? I can't hear you.
I don't like, have you ever noticed, like, a lot of these gay serial killers, they usually like either keep the bodies or like bury them in their homes and shit. Have you noticed that?
Or eat them.
Like if you look at Dahmer, right? Dahmer, I mean, yeah, he ate some of his victims, but he stored a lot of their body parts
Yeah.
and bodies inside his apartment. Like he had them in them barrels. He had some in the fridge. If you look at John Wayne Gacy, he had mad fucking dead bodies under his house.
Yep.
Huh.
How did they cover the stench?
But that's like, and look at this guy now, like he implanters, fucking under the house, under other people's house.
Yeah, buried in other people's yards. That's crazy.
That's crazy, man.
That's crazy.
Take a body and bury it in somebody in my neighbor's yard.
Like, how do you pull that shit off, though, right?
I
To
have
bury
no idea.
somebody
He
else's
must go
house.
there at least at night or
At
at a
3 in the
time
morning.
unless he works alone. And sometimes when homeowners, they tend to leave and they'll leave like a project being done.
Makes sense because you gotta be digging like for a while to make.
But that's
the
what
hole
I'm saying.
deep
Because
enough.
it's gonna take you a while to dig a grave. It's gonna take you a while. So unless you exactly like you say, there's like work being done, left it halfway,
Yeah, that's
or
what
he
it is.
knows when they're home and when they're not. Like during the day, get
And he
into that,
must have the heavy machinery.
Yeah, but like,
dude. But you're going to your
Damn.
neighbor's house. Unless they have a big yard, then it's like back into the land,
Wow.
right in the back where I don't know.
Yo, I'm guessing this is not Puerto Rico yards, man. This is like a little square. These are big ass yards, with acres and stuff.
But it's very intriguing to me how I don't know if there's a study on this, but it's very intriguing to me that most of the not most, right, but most of the ones I've heard of, right, these like gay serial killers, they usually hold on to the bodies some way. Like I remember in Dahmer, the first person he killed, he chopped them up and whatnot, and he ended up grinding the bones and then spreading them around the house. And when they asked him why he did that, he said because he wanted to feel him close.
Okay.
So, all right, that's it. That's the end of it?
No.
Oh.
Oh, I lost my place.
He brought the autobiography of Bruce.
No, it's actually longer, and I'm bringing it short. I'm shortening it, and he was sentenced to life in 2019 with no chance for parole for 25 years. He will be eligible for parole until he's 91. The prosecutors wanted to see McArthur's jailed with no chance for parole for 50 years. However, the judge decided on half that to account for his age. He was also credited for sparing family and friends of the victims a lengthy trial by pleading guilty.
Interesting. I'm still stuck on that though. Like the whole, why do you hold on to bodies? Like I remember in you saw The Black Phone?
No.
I tried watching it, but I had problems with the freaking file.
So The Black Phone, it's about, it's actually a pretty good movie. This guy abducts kids, but he gets off on beating kids. So like he kidnaps the children, locks them in his like basement, and then he sets traps for them. Like he'll leave the door open to the basement, but he'll wait for them upstairs. And then he always has like that devil mask on, and it's like a game to him. So he'll wait for you upstairs. So when they try to escape, he beats the shit out of them and puts them right back in the basement. But the guy had like I don't remember if he was gay, but he was kind of like gayish. But he also did the same. No, I'm not trying to focus on the gay thing. I'm just saying, like,
no, it's funny, yo, the Charles face,
because he had like
flamboyant.
No, like he has like little gayish vibe. I don't know, but the point being why I'm saying this, just in case, is that he also did the same thing. He would bury bodies under the house. And then he bought, I guess he bought the house across the street so he can also bury bodies under the house and have access to them.
But why
Look
you
at
want
you
access?
making
That's what I don't
connections.
get.
Bro,
If I'm guessing if you kill someone, you don't want to do, you don't want to deal with that no more. You don't want to get caught. Why do you want to have access to it?
but that's what I find weird. Like when you think of real life cases. I mean, now I got to do more digging into this because now I'm going to start searching for gay serial killers. No, for real. And I want to
Which
see.
one? People who kill gay people, or if they
usually
a guy that's gay that's murdering?
No. I'm talking about like gay killers, like guys that are gay that kill.
Okay.
Because usually, I mean, when you talk about the gay community, I mean, when we talk about serial killers, right? It's usually either an extreme homophobe or a gay person themselves. Usually, regular serial killers don't go out targeting gay. Like maybe a gay person can be in the mix, but they don't target. That's not their MO. It's usually a person either is an extreme homophobe or a gay person themselves, like Dahmer.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I want to do that research and look up gay serial killers to see if there's like a connection there of saving bodies and trophies. I mean, most serial killers have some type of trophy, but I feel like the gay serial killers usually save the body, either the body or part of the body. Something to think about.
True.
All right. So let's jump into our next situation here. So I have here is called The Santa of Covina.
Yeah, I think I saw that one.
On Christmas Eve, 2008, in Covina, California, Bruce Pardo went to his ex-wife's family's home a week after his divorce was finalized and began shooting. Straight to the point.
Bang, bang, bang.
According to the 13th floor, I don't know what that is, if that's a magazine, what it is. So let me see before. I don't want to sound ignorant here. What is the 13th floor? This is like a movie, isn't it? It has to do with Blumhouse. That's weird.
Really?
Yeah. So according to the 13th floor, okay, there were 25 people inside and 9 of them were killed. One of the most bizarre aspects of the Covina Massacre was that Pardo entered the home dressed in a Santa Claus suit. Pardo also set the house on fire, and 3 others were injured in the shooting. His ex-wife, her parents, her 2 brothers, and their wives, her sister, and her nephew were all victims in the massacre. The following morning, on Christmas Day, Pardo died from a self-inflicted gunshot to the head at his brother's home in the early hours of the morning, and he never faced justice. See, this is such a dickhead move. Not only are you a dickhead because you decided to just go and shoot up a family, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you're such a piece of shit that you shoot a bunch of unarmed people. That's 1. 2, you do it on Christmas. 3, you ruin Christmas for their family for the rest of their life. 4, you dress up as Santa to make sure you ruin Christmas for all the children and family in these people's lives. Not only that, you're such a fucking piece of shit. You go the next day. So meaning if that was what? The following morning, right? Christmas Day. Not only that, you go and you shoot yourself in your brother's home. So now you ruined it for your brother too.
It's
He
crazy.
made sure that year
To
was the
ruin it.
crappiest Christmas for everyone.
Bruce Pardo, you were truly a piece of shit. I'm sorry. I don't know wherever you are. You're probably
Yo, what's up with the Bruces?
Bruce. Yeah. Yeah. So that was the case of the Santa of Covina.
It's crazy. People do crazy shit.
Charles, you got something else?
Yes, indeed, I do. This one is called Ronald Jean Simmons. And it says on December 22nd, 1987, Dover, Arkansas resident Ronald Jean Simmons began making phone calls to his children, arranging for them to come visit him with their own families over the holidays. While this would be wholesome under ordinary circumstances, Simmons had something very disturbing in mind, according to All That's Interesting. I don't know if that's magazine or
That's a website, yeah.
Okay. Over the next several days, as his children and their families arrived at previously scheduled times, Simmons began methodically killing each group as they showed up. This bloody work took 4 days, and by December 22nd, 26, Simmons had killed 14 members of his own family, lining their bodies up in neat rows. One of his victims was a daughter he had sexually abused for years and had even given birth to a child sired by Simmons. This information becoming public is believed to have been a motivating factor in the crimes. And on December 27th, Simmons merely sat at home, drinking beer and watching TV. On December 28th, saw him back at his rampage, though he traveled to the nearby town of Russellville. He visited his old workplaces, killing 2 and wounding 4. He also stopped to murder a woman who had recently rejected his advances. At his last stop, Simmons simply sat and waited for police to arrive after his deeds, chatting with workers there. He was found guilty, sentenced to death, and executed by lethal injection less than 3 years later on June 25th, 1990.
Wow.
So he basically massacred a bunch of people as well.
How do you do that? Your own family. I mean, how do you do that to anybody but your own
And you
family?
schedule them on different dates, different hours, and then you just shoot them and you just line them up, and yeah, you just sit and watch TV and drink beer.
Jeez,
You gotta be freaking twisted.
that's yeah,
You
man.
gotta be really
That's
twisted.
insane.
What you do with their family alone?
Ronald Jean Simmons.
Ronald Jean Simmons, you are a piece of shit.
You're in big trouble, though, pal. I eat pieces of shit like you for breakfast.
You eat pieces of shit for breakfast?
We got
the pieces of shit list. The pieces of
when we
shit
get
list.
to a certain episode, to a certain amount of episode, we got to do the list of the shittiest person to commit a murder or a mass murder. You know, who's the top 5?
The countdown to the 10 most pieces of shit.
Yes.
Jeez.
The 10 most pieces of shit.
I like try to picture that shit. Like, wow, like,
yeah, that's crazy. People are twisted.
nah, man. All right, so the next case that I have here is gonna be my last one. It's a pretty famous case. It still hasn't been resolved to this day. I actually got obsessed with this case like 2 years ago, and I was like looking at every documentary out there. And
What happened to Lorenzo?
so this is the Jonbenet Ramsey homicide.
Yes.
Okay, that's that little blonde girl, right?
Yes. So
Yeah.
Jonbenet Ramsey was found dead on Christmas Day at her family's home in Boulder, Colorado. A handwritten ransom note was found at home, and her father, John, found the girl's body in the basement of their house around 8 hours after she was reported missing. The 6-year-old took a blow to the head that broke her skull and had been strangled. A garrote was found tied around her neck. Her death was ruled a homicide, and initially, during the investigations, authorities suspected that Jonbenet's parents and her brother, Burke Ramsey, were involved in her killing. They were later cleared following DNA testing. The crime is still unsolved and remains open with the Boulder Police Department. Yeah, I'm pretty sure everybody's heard about that case.
Yeah.
There's just
I
so
didn't
much
follow up
to
on
it.
it much, but I know the case.
Yeah, like there was so much, like they reported her missing. I mean, they couldn't find her in the house Christmas morning. So obviously, you know, they make a report and they wait. And, you know, it's like 8 hours later. It was just so bizarre. Like 8 hours later, he finds her in their basement, meaning that were you not checking your whole house? You know, so it's like they were all suspects. The parents, and they said the brother. Then there were rumors about that the brother used to abuse her sexually, and then they came out that no, that's not true. So you don't know really what happened. Some people try to blame. I know the mom. I think the mom died of like cancer, so the father's still alive. But it was so weird because they kept saying like, yeah, so the mom used to put her in all these pageants, and they were like obsessed with her image and making her look like a full-blown woman. Then there were reports of, well, there was like, I guess it seemed like there was a break-in through this little window in the basement. I mean, it's a whole bunch of shit. And at the same time, is a whole bunch of nothing because they were never able to solve the case till this day.
Yeah. I have a feeling que eso va a ser uno de estos casos that you'll never know what happened.
Yeah,
So
I
quedar
hate
así.
that. I hate that.
You'll
It's
never
like
know.
the whole like in PR with the Lorenzo case.
Lorenzo.
You know, like this kid winds up dead, and
Rolandito.
yeah, but Rolandito at least disappeared. He could be anywhere, right? But this kid, like, he died. His mom was like partying it up. What was it? She was like coking it up with a bunch of, you know, political friends and all this shit, like, you know, people with money. And then like her whole attitude towards the case, how she, instead of being grieving, she was more upset at what people were investigating and looking into instead of actually wanting to find who murdered her son.
Yep.
Which
Yeah,
leads
she
you to
made-
believe
She
has
made it
involved
feel
with
like it was her.
Yeah. You know, she was like partying it up a few months later, like nothing happened. Like, I don't know. It's just weird.
Sad.
So, yeah. Christmas murders.
Yeah.
I remember back then. Huh?
What happened to Lorenzo?
Word. Like, I remember, I mean, Christmas used to be, I mean, back then there were things, you grew up believing this, but like back then I found it so wrong, right? To watch movies that either made fun of the church or made fun of Christmas. If that makes any sense. Like, you remember
Yeah, I know
Silent
the
Night,
movie.
Deadly Night?
Uh-huh.
I don't remember the movie. I remember
movie.
the title. I remember, I think I probably watched one. I know it was like a Santa Claus with an axe. He would like murder people. And I remember as a kid that I would think like, wow, that's so like wrong. Like, this shouldn't be a thing. I don't know.
It was so disrespectful. When they
Yeah.
would rag on a church or something, you would find it so disrespectful. And
Yeah, like when like Carrie, when they show that Christ doll like all ugly and shit, like, yeah, I remember I was afraid of that. I was like, yeah, man, I shouldn't be
I
watching this.
was more afraid of my mom.
I shouldn't be, no. But yeah. All right. So let's finish off this episode. So again, I want to remind all you listeners, if you haven't done so, now is a great time to follow the podcast, share with your friends, share a review, give us a couple of stars if you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts. If you want to see the video of this episode, you can go to youtube.com and search for the Grim Fix Podcast. And listen, subscribe to the channel, like the video, share with your friends, comment. It's totally free. We want to remind you all, if you have a story, a grim story, curious story, interesting story, weird story, we want to hear about it. And if you want us to discuss it in one of our episodes, you can drop us a line at thegrimfixpodcast@gmail.com. Write us your story. If you don't want your name on it, just let us know you want to be anonymous.
Mm-hmm.
And we will
Confession. I want somebody to confess to something. I want a confession.
No.
So this
That's
has been
cool.
the Grim Fix Podcast. Thank you all for listening and watching. Till next week, guys. Peace. Be safe.
Peace.
Peace.